Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans. Oh, Lord.
This is,
This is going to be good.
we haven't gone too far.
No.
This is going to be awful. With that being said, welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
As you can see by my nice little YouTube nameplate, I am Jake.
Nice. As you can see, I guess from the sound of my voice. As always, this is Fleric.
And this is Mac, and this is just awkward. When was the last time the four of us were actually podcasting in the same room together?
It probably would have been...
Something in between January and March.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the Hatsu recap of 20 but some bonus episode in between there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the... I don't know where to look now. Like, I always have my computer screen right in front of me. This is so weird going back to in person. But yes, this is our preview episode for the Aki 2021 Basho. We are recording this 5 days prior to the Basho, so there could be some news that comes out between now and the start of the Basho that we won't be able to cover. Luckily, Hakuho is already pulled out, so we don't have that awkwardness behind us.
As has the rest of his stable. Not just Hakuho. The entirety of the Miyagino stable is gone.
Yep. Yeah. As Ryan said, thankfully, Hakuho is out. Yes. Ryan's words for you right there.
But yeah, as you can see, if you are watching on YouTube, we are recording live and in person for the first time since like March or something of 2020.
But how apropos, it's our birthday.
It is our birthday. This is the beginning of the 5th year of Grand Sumo Breakdown, podcasting about sumo wrestling. And honestly, the sumo world is far worse for it.
We apologize deeply.
We got into sumo in sometime in 2016 or so, and we're like, these people have no one to help them but John Gunning.
Those poor people.
We have to help them.
Oh man! Little did we know that we would spawn the entire English language podcast world. You know, we're the originators. It's all thanks to us.
There's no way that the Tachi Ai podcast was going before ours.
I was gonna say we inspired them to do like a couple months before.
Yeah. Yes. And just because I forgot about them does not mean that it's not important.
All right, but we actually had some U.S. sumo that happened fairly recently that had some Grand Sumo Breakdown involvement. Mac, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Which one are you referring to the Iron Belly Sumo tournament by chance?
I was referring. That was one of the ones I was.
Oh, well, for that one, Jake and I actually did some of the commentary on that. Actually, we did all the commentary on that with color commentation and play-by-play. Had an absolute ball doing it.
Go check out Florida Sumo's channel on Twitch. They have the whole video up there. You can watch me and Max struggle at the beginning. Yes. slowly get our feet underneath us, and then we were having a blast by the end of it. It was real great. Special thanks to Karinga Conway, the Oyakata / Yokozuna of that club.
Yes. I don't know. Don't shortchange Cornelius Booker there. I would debate.
Absolutely. But yeah, Cornelius and Dustin there also helped us get the technical side of things under control. Stream went pretty well. I'd say for a first time trying to stream their sumo tournament, and for us the first time trying to do commentary, I think we did okay.
I think so.
Yeah. And there was one other one just this last weekend. The Houston Sumo Club hosted a tournament with the Texas clubs. So all 4 Texas clubs showed up. That's Dark Circle, Mighty Eagle, the Houston Club, and the Dallas Club. Dark Circle and Mighty Eagle took home all the medals.
Yeah.
That is quite the rivalry. Congrats to Sam Kempka and Nicole Burgess, the 2 champions. So that was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before we dive any further into talking about the Grand Sumo that is going to be coming up in the Aki Basho, let's talk about some of our patrons and how amazing they are.
Just a little bit more bullshit before we actually get started. Yep.
A little bit more bullshit before some bullshit, and then we'll get to a little bit more bullshit, and then we'll talk about sumo.
There you go.
All right, Mac, kick us off.
Who am I kicking it off to?
All right, so...
Okay, so once we get Mac into the 20th century with a computer here, we can...
What computer? I got a phone. How do I operate this thing?
Oh, Lord.
Gotta
Poor Mac.
scroll.
That's like at the very beginning.
It's very
know it
complicated,
is.
Ryan.
Now I gotta open our compliments page.
All right.
It's typed right in
it's
there.
on there. It's on there, Mac. God, we're just killing it back in person.
Technical difficulties.
We shouldn't have started off with the guy who takes notes on paper, like some
I was
sort
about
of
to say,
some
this
sort of
is
peasant.
your fault. This is none other than your fault.
You forgot to mail him the outline the week before.
I did. I forgot to outline the outline. But Miss Heather Jockins, as much as Ryan hates Goedo, that's how much he loves you.
That's a significant amount. I can guarantee you that. Mr. Alex Hearn, you ucharied our hearts.
John Gunning has been a guest on this show, and it's probably the nicest thing that we can say about him.
Absolutely.
There you go. Two
Two good ones.
zingers in there already on John. Excellent.
Zing.
He doesn't have a consistent platform to be able to get us back. So we're going to be able to build
keeping-
up quite a backlog.
Yes.
Keeping his name in the news.
Yeah.
All right, Octavian Martin. If there was an ice cream flavor named after you, it would taste like rainbows, hope, love, and peanut butter.
And you know, honestly, guys, we would be shocked if the 74th Yokozuna wasn't Devin Peterson.
We've been saying that since day one of this podcast. We knew he wouldn't be the next one after Kisei no Sato, but the one after that, we knew Devin Peterson would be the guy. And yeah, because 73rd was Teruno Fuji, right? Kisei no Sato was 72, and
I
then,
think you're right.
I think
Yeah.
that's right.
I know Haku is 69.
yeah. So then it would be
Nice.
Haruma
Yes.
Fuji, Kakuyu, Kisei no Sato,
Yes,
Teruno Fuji,
yes.
Devin Peterson.
Devin Peterson.
All right. And God said,
We work forward. I like how to figure that out. We work forward from 69.
as we should solve all
Very-
problems from here on out on the podcast.
Yes.
Very fitting for us.
Like I said, and God said, let there be Emo Dingo. And there was Emo Dingo. And then God said, damn, that's pretty good, even for me. All right. Those are some Patreon compliments. You get those if you sign up at our Patreon at the $1 level. You just got to do the bare minimum, and we will give you one shout out per basho. And something else we probably should have said a little bit sooner. Now that we are doing like a video podcast on YouTube, we are eliminating just the blank screen of our logo with our audio running behind it. So we're just going to be doing the video version of our podcast on YouTube from now on. If anybody has strong opinions about that, let us know. It's simply clicking a button for us to turn those back on. So if you
Also
really
true.
if you really want those instead of this video version, we can turn that back on. But as of now, we're just going to be running the video only
Yeah.
versions.
The audio for podcast feeds are still going to be continue as
Yeah.
normal.
Oh yeah,
Obviously.
regular podcasting is unchanged. Yes,
Yeah.
but if you watch on YouTube, you get to either see our ugly faces or just listen on your podcast app.
One of the two.
And the final bit of bullshittery that we will do
Don't lie.
before we get to talking about the Aki Basho, we have to look back to what was probably the best Basho in years, the Nagoya Basho. So, B, tell us all about it.
Hey guys, B here with your...
Jake, do it correctly.
Ta-da!
Yay!
All right, we're gonna try that again. It's Ryan's first time doing this in person here, so we just have some technical hiccups here and there.
Don't
but,
lie, we were smart enough from the beginning to never let me towards near any of the technology.
Ryan is
involved.
literally
He is
the
literally-
furthest person in the room from the technology.
Yes.
Which is for the best. Okay, anyways, our foreign correspondent on the scene in Japan. Let's take it away, baby.
Hey guys, B here with your Francisco Goya 2021 review. Let's cut straight to the point. This was the WrestleMania 17 of Sumo pay-per-views. It was perfect, start to finish, and that's all there is to it. How many months or even years have we spent talking about long-term storylines and build-ups and whatever else just for the bookers to finally deliver what was a perfect main event? To me, at least, the fact that so many things could have gone wrong with the booking but didn't says that this was set from the start. There was no Nothing Cup challenger, there was no goofiness with the injuries, nothing. It was just a straight-up 15 versus 15 final day old versus new Kazuna. I do kind of want to deal with some booking criticism I've heard, though. I know a lot of people didn't like Hakuho's heel role during the tournament, especially since he was the one to win. that match where he stayed all the way back, the scream at the end, the face slapping. But honestly, getting riled up over Hakuho being a tweener now seems kind of pointless. This has been his character from the start, from lifting his own arm for the Mata to the Hanka on Harem Fuji. It just seems like a big #cancel JSA style overreaction. And I know there are people who would have preferred our new top guy won the final match, and I'm a big believer in going out on your back too. And Teruno Fuji obviously has gotten the lion's share of the comeback story. But having Hakuho beat Teru, but him still getting the rope, solidifies a greater legacy for Hakuho, not just for the tournaments to come, but the 10 years of tournaments behind him. I'm happy for Teru. I am, but he's not the next Cena. We aren't going to have a reign of terror from him for the next decade. He's going to draw a dime or two for sure, but the next era is going to start when the guy after him takes his spot. Anyway, I don't know where we go from here, but wherever it is, I'm ready. JSA, Tsugini, Sate, Aini. See you guys for hockey.
What?
when he said like the person after Teruno Fuji is gonna be like the next star,
Devin Peterson,
Right? The 74th lyric, it's already been ordained.
I forgot that part of the script. Yeah,
Right.
But I instantly thought of Tamawashi, like someone just as old.
The Kotenages finally get him
Yeah.
to that Yokozuna rank.
He's gonna get like 36, finally get to Yokozuna, and then instantly retire the one after, right there, after taking a year of Kyujo. And just drawing
and
that
injuring
paycheck.
somebody
Yes.
younger and more promising than
Yeah.
him. On the way out.
Naturally,
Yeah.
take out Wakataka Kage, Hoshoryu, Kiribayama Meisei on his way up, and then immediately retire.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, let's talk about the Akibasho. Let's do it. And we have to talk about the Akibasho and start with COVID. Yay! COVID's great. If we sound positive about it, then the news won't feel nearly as depressing. So yay, COVID. Yay, Takasago having a outbreak at the end of July, and Asanoyama, Takasago Oyakata, and 6 lower-ranked Rikishi testing positive. Yay, that another lower-ranked Rikishi
This sounded
tested.
better when you were typing it
know.
out.
Like,
Yeah,
we
this
gotta
doesn't really work.
we got to work on your bad news in a good way montage here.
Well, if I had buy-in from the other 3 people of the podcast, it could have carried at least for
This-
one more bullet point.
No, this one was
No.
DOA, buddy.
This was bad, dude.
I'm just so tired about being depressed about COVID at the beginning of every Basho.
Hey, it's been around since 2019. What do you want?
Not depression, but here
Okay,
I am.
fair.
But yeah, at the end of July, Takasago Oyakata, Asanoyama, and 6 lower-ranked Rikishi in the Takasago Bay tested positive for COVID. At that same time, there was 1 lower-ranked Rikishi that tested positive from another Heya. All of those Rikishi have recovered at this point and will be able to participate, obviously, except for Asanoyama, still very suspended.
Yes.
Super suspended. Yep.
And then on August 28th, Ichi Nojo tested positive, and this is after he participated in the joint practice, which included like Hakuho, Mataki Umi, Shodai, Takayasu. Luckily, all other participants tested negative, and Tatayama Oyakata has said that Ichi Nojo will be ready in time for the Basho as long as his PCR test came back negative, which they issued to all Rikishi earlier this week, and that did come back negative. So Ichi Nojo and all members of the Minato Beya will be able to participate in this Basho. The big one that we've already hinted at for this tournament, last Wednesday, Hokuseiho tested positive. Hokuseiho, the Juryo Rikishi that was going to be making his debut, the absolute phenom that people were very excited to see what he could do against some salaried Rikishi. Because he tested positive and another Miyagino stable Rikishi tested positive, the entirety of the Miyagino stable will be held out of the Akibasho. So that includes Ishiura, Enho, and of course the top dog, Hakuho, will be out of the Akibasho. Then there was one other case where somebody that works at the Oguruma Beya tested positive. All Rikishi in Oguruma were tested, and they were all negative, so everybody in that Beya will be able to participate in the Akibasho. It is only the Miyagino stable at this time that is going to be held out of the tournament.
Is it time for conspiracy theory time? Is it time that we have just
Absolutely
targeted-
go for it.
I'm thinking COVID has a mind of its own at this point. It's specifically new at this point that Hakuho had the Zensho Yusho in Nagoya.
Is
And
known.
now it is time for the rise of Teru no Fuji, at least for one tournament as a Yokozuna. And then his knees will shatter. This is the way of COVID.
I thought you were just going to bring up the flat Earth shit again.
Oh, no. We've debated on that one, my friend.
Yes, debate. That's the word for it.
Yeah. I wonder how quick Hakuho was to like pull the entire Heya. Like as soon as he heard. It was like, oh, one person's out for COVID. Okay, I'm done.
I don't have to at this point.
No.
Yeah, see, that's where I thought the conspiracy was going to be going. I thought it was going to be, you think Hakuho sent Hokuseiho out to some hot spots because Hakuho knew that knee wasn't going to be up to snuff. This Basho was like, hey, buddy, just go out there, get positive, bring it in, get one other guy positive. That way I'll be able to sit out. But hey, not my fault.
Yeah.
Big C.
Yeah,
Medium C, cancer's still big C. Medium C.
There you go. I need you to go out to a hostess club, Hokuseiho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to Asano Yama. He might know a few people.
He's got some tips.
But it's more likely that it's all bullshit. I don't want people to run with those theories.
No, let's not.
Yeah, that's part of a normal bullshit. Bring it back, I guess, a little bit. It sucks. You know?
Oh, totally.
I love seeing Hakuho. It looked like he was pretty healthy. He won the entire thing. So it kind of sucks to not have him back again. But, this is kind of Teru no Fuji's chance to shine. So
Yeah.
I guess we still have Yokozuna for the Basho, which is good.
Yeah.
Line, yeah.
It would have been really interesting to see if he would have had to pull some of the same tactics that he did, like against Shodai and some of the stuff like against Tobizaru in this Basho to maintain his current winning streak. It would be very interesting to see if he kind of still has to resort to those tricks and alternative tactics, we will call it, to win the tournament. But now he's got another full 2 months to recover from his knee. I heard he did participate in the joint practice for the last 2 days. He didn't compete in any matches in that. He just was there to go through kind of the basics of training. He did offer his chest for some Butsukari to some lower ranked Rikishi, but he said in an interview that like one day his knee feels good, the next day the knee doesn't feel good. So it was probably 50-50 on him entering the tournament anyways, but this just gives him the absolute, not that he wanted this, but it just the absolute chance to not participate and recover his knee a little bit more.
Yeah, that 50-50, that's his schedule for the Bashos too.
I mean, at this point it really wouldn't have been 50-50. You said schedule for the Basho. I was going to be like, because I think coming into this, I would have assumed his chances of participating in the tournament were like 10 to 20%. Because he's been 50-50.
Because he's been 50-50.
The pattern's pretty established.
Yeah. Also, one last thing for COVID. It sounds like the state of emergency will likely extend during the time frame of the Aki Basho in Tokyo. So currently 5,000 spectators is a limit. The government could force it to be another Ghost Basho. We saw, I think it was the first 3 days of the Natsu tournament where there was a state of emergency. Nobody was allowed in there. I don't know if that's currently where they are at for this tournament, if they aren't allowed any spectators or if they can still go with the 5,000. So we'll see on day one how many people are there. I would assume if there are people there day one, there will be people there the entire time. But let's talk about Teru no Fuji, our brand new Yokozuna, participating as the sole Yokozuna in his first Basho. So that's probably a little bit of extra pressure on him. We know that Kakuryu has said in the past he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders when he was performing as the sole Yokozuna. So that's just a little bit of extra pressure on Teru no Fuji in his first Basho as a Yokozuna. Between these two Bashos, between Nagoya and Aki, he did become a Japanese citizen. A little bit of news for him. He took the name Suginomori Seizan, which is derived from his Shisho, Hitakeyama Oyakata, whose real name is Suginomori Seiya. So just showing a lot of reverence to Hitakeyama Oyakata, who obviously played a very large role in him not quitting sumo and making this comeback. I mean, it's not even a comeback anymore. He's risen further than he ever was before. So just led to Teru no Fuji's rise up to the Yokozuna rank. And then one more thing before we talk more about what we think Teru no Fuji is going to be doing as a Yokozuna. I did think it was very cool that he was a Sekiwake, then Ozeki for 2 Basho, and then Yokozuna, all within 4 Basho. And I was very curious if that had happened before, how many times it had happened. So we're going to throw it back to a segment we used to do, fun facts. Little bit of fun fact here. So
we killed fun facts. There's a
I'm
reason
bringing
why
it back.
No.
I had a lot of free time. There was a very long break between the last Basho and this Basho. It was like 2 extra weeks. And so I had a lot of time to do some research. So it turns out Terunofuji is the 4th Rikishi to go from Sekiwake to Ozeki to Yokozuna over 4 Basho. But it hasn't happened in quite a while. So the 27th Yokozuna, Tochigiyama, in 1917 and 18, he performed the feat. The 35th Yokozuna, Futabayama, in 1936 through 1938. Again, back then, they were only doing 2 Basho a year, and they weren't even at 15 matches in a tournament at that point. And then the 38th Yokozuna, Terukuni, between 1941 and 1943, also completed the feat. Then I kind of looked into Terukuni a little bit more, and his rise to Yokozuna was absolutely a rocket ship to the moon. So he debuted. He had 1 Basho each in Jonokuchi, Jonidan, and Sandanme. Then he had 2 Basho each in Makushita and Juryo. So in the span of 7 Basho, he's up, or 8 Basho, he's up to Maegashira. Then he had 2 Basho as a Maegashira the entirety of his career, 3 Basho as Sekiwake, 2 Basho as Ozeki, and 25 Basho as a Yokozuna.
Dang.
And once again, this is a time frame where they're only doing 2 Basho per year, and so the amount of Basho that he did this in, like, he could have had so many more as Yokozuna. It still would have been the same in the lower divisions if they were doing 6 per year, but he could have tripled the amount of time that he was a Yokozuna.
Yeah, it's worth noting because of that. When you say this many Basho, that doesn't mean the same as this year. So like,
Right.
So yeah, it took him 8 years to get to Yokozuna. That's still pretty awesome, but it's not like 16 Basho now would be like 3 years, which would be crazy. It's also the other thing I wanted to point out is despite being a Yokozuna for 25 Basho, which was like 12 years when you only do it, that's crazy, right? He only had 2 championship wins.
Yeah, and they were both after he was promoted to Yokozuna.
Long after, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. I thought that was a very interesting guy to kind of look into. So, Fleric, let's talk about Terunofuji and our overall expectations for him, not just this tournament, but just how we expect him to basically perform the rest of his career, how we expect him to do as a Yokozuna, because there's nothing after that, baby. You're not going back down to Ozeki. So
He's not going back down. No more Makushita for him.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
So how many Basho do you think we will get of Yokozuna Terunofuji with the understanding that his knees are non-existent?
Okay, with that understanding,
The
Like,
official
at least-
official take on that, Flair?
at least 3. I don't know. It's impossible to know. He is 29 still, so like he's not yet 30, which makes me a little bit more hopeful that he's probably going to be able to. His knees are going to be able to hold it together a little bit more. I guess like in my head, I expect a couple more years. Whether or not he's the dominant like best Rikishi on the dojo that entire time, we'll kind of see about that. But I don't know. Like at least 3 Bashas.
Do you think he will make it past the age of 33 and still be competing as a Rikishi? That'd be 4 years as Yokozuna.
My gut tells me no, but it's impossible. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
You just can't know.
Yeah, I think the number I have floating in my head is like 32. And that might even be pushing it based on
His
what we
age,
know.
you
His
mean?
glass
Yeah.
knees.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as much as we talk about his knees, like we haven't. I don't know.
It obviously hasn't been an issue.
Yeah.
Exactly,
True.
yeah.
I
So
know,
it's-
but you still can't count it out.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still always that feeling that it could go at any catastrophic moment, but like without any like medium issues, it's hard to like. Yeah, it's hard to like have a
something
strong
happen
opinion.
so we
you know?
know.
Yeah, just get hurt a little bit,
Just a
please.
little bit. Just little injury. Just a little
But
injury,
yeah, like
please.
you know what I mean. Like there's
Yeah.
always going to be that shadow. But like even if it wasn't for his knees, just based on his age, based on like his actual talent, like he could last up to where Hakuho's at like 35, 36.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Probably.
say for like 14 years as Yokozuna.
Lord.
No, I just mean like total age. Let's see, how old is Hakuho? I think he's right in that region.
36?
Yeah, he turned 36
Yeah, that's what
in
I
March.
thought. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's kind of the upper limit for almost anybody.
I mean, and yeah, Hakuho's been fighting through some major injuries for the past 2 years. He hasn't completed back-to-back Basho since Jake's about to look it up, but I want to say like 2017 or 2018.
Yeah, it was all the way back in the middle of 2017.
Oh, wow.
He won those two back to back.
Of course.
Of
Well,
course.
obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, but that's the thing also with Yokozuna. You can also go every other basho for like a couple years before you go down.
True.
So we could see that for Teruno Fuji.
You could even go 6 or 7, like Kisei no Sato did before he came back, and ultimately he wasn't able to go.
I thought you said like years for a second. I was like,
It was like, whoa.
yeah, you can definitely kind of do it for a while, and I could see that, or maybe Teruno Fuji kind of has it in his head, like as soon as he knows like there's an injury where he won't be back up to his peak, he can just call it.
Right.
But
that would be my guess.
we'll
Somebody
see.
who's already gone through that kind of injury, he's already like, I've already done my comeback. I've done all this hard work. I've achieved everything I really can fully expect to in my career. If he has another injury similar to anything like the torrential downpour of injuries that led to his fall down the Bansuke, I would agree with you. I think it's a lot easier for him to be like, you know what? I did real good here. That's enough for me. I don't need to put my body through all this to come back.
Yeah, I have nothing to prove. I've already proven it.
Exactly.
And then
He's
some.
left it all in the dojo. There is nothing left to prove for him.
Yeah, and he's also come from Isegahama, where Harumu Fuji, he retired pretty quickly.
Well, he was forced into that.
Well, it's hard to say. Like, I guess you're saying like he was forced to, but like I guess the Hinkaku, the dignity of the Yokozuna, is something I guess that's what was on Harumu Fuji's mind. I would say, despite his actions, but at least his retirement was. So there's probably a pattern there. I would expect Teruno Fuji to follow.
Yep. All right, Max. So we are calling for just a couple more years of Teruno Fuji being an active rikishi. How many Yusho do you think he will rack up in the next few years as a Yokozuna? He currently has 4. How many do you think he ends up with when he does hang up the Mawashi?
Given his current age at 29 now, and assuming that he'll last until at least 32, I'm saying at least 5 more, so 9 total.
Okay.
I'm kind of in that same boat. I think I'm sorry. Go ahead, Flair.
No, go ahead and finish your thought.
I was just going to say if we're kind of expecting Hakuho is going to be around less frequently, I think he could double up on what he's got so far. That's about what I was going to guess too.
Yeah. Obviously, very much depends on how many basho he attends. But there's kind of an interesting thing when I was checking out his Sumo DV. Like, I recommend people to check that out. It's starting to kind of look suspiciously like Hakuho's, where it's like the last year and a half has been Jin Yusho, and just a lot of white, like just a lot of one matches. He's easily the best rikishi on the dohyo, I guess, bar Hakuho, who's probably not going to be around for a long time. So unless something kind of drastically changes a couple years, I think he's going to be winning a lot in this next year.
But I can also see, just to prolong his career as a Yokozuna, taking one off every once in a while, maybe having a sneaky basho where somebody
The
unexpected
sneaky basho.
comes up. Well, you know what I mean. Where
Well, I like it,
somebody unexpected comes up from the ranks of Tokushoryu, perhaps, or heck, maybe even Hokuseiho will make his debut and all of a sudden be the phenom that we all hope he is.
Yeah.
Can't sit out of 2 tournaments in 1 year with COVID, though, if you want to make your way up the Bansuke.
Fair.
Not really his fault, but still really sucks for him.
But still, the idea that I can see him getting at least 5 more.
Yeah, I think I'm right along in there. I think he pushes. I think he could push it up to double digits. Much to Flarrick's point, like if Hakuho is sitting out, Jake, who's gonna compete with him? Like who else is there? Like as Flarrick said, Teruno Fuji has proved if Hakuho's not here, I am the man to beat. So if we're kind of looking more at the Aki Basho now, without Hakuho there, who is the biggest threat to Teruno Fuji to keep him from winning his 3rd Basho this year?
There's not a lot to go off of just because they're well, I mean, that's the obvious answer, but it's also a serious one.
Yeah.
Like I think that there really isn't anybody that's on any sort of hot streak that is enough for us to give serious weight to their momentum coming into this tournament, you know? Like the momentum is all with Teruno Fuji right now.
Yeah. There was something to go with Takakesho, but with that injury, we don't know.
Yeah, and that's, it had, if everybody was healthy, except for Hakuho, because then obviously we pick Hakuho.
Yeah.
But if everybody else was healthy, Takakesho is probably the next default answer, I guess.
Yeah.
And really the only top guy that has Teruno Fuji's number even a little bit is Takayasu, they're like 9 and 12 in favor of Takayasu. And even that is not like...
And Teruno Fuji's won the last 2 against Takayasu.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But like I'm trying to think like anybody near the top that like you could reliably say will at the very least have a 50-50 against Teruno Fuji. There's nobody.
No,
like
yeah.
it's either going to be I think it could be a surprise basho again, like a surprise winner. Just inevitably there will be a few people that perform very well and take it somewhat late into the tournament against even top guys. But I definitely say that there is nobody that you could say is a safe bet to put up a good fight here.
Yeah. I think so. Like in the short term, I definitely think he's going to just probably be taking more bashos home than not. A year from now, it might be very different depending how the young guys develop. Like Hoshoryu is starting to kind of come in his own.
Yes,
that's
definitely.
the one I'm kind of keeping my eye on. But like he's just
that
not
should
there
be
yet.
a day 1 or 2 matchup. Hoshoryu versus Terunofuji. With
He's
their placement on
Maegashira
the
1.
Bansuke. Yeah.
So
that could be fun. But but the thing is, like, he's not there yet. There might be some young. It would depend on the young people developing, maturing into the sumo, their brand of sumo,
of course.
naturally.
Meisei, Wakataka Kage.
And just kind of
gen
seeing where it goes from there.
I wouldn't count out Takanosho either. I know we haven't really highlighted him as much, but he's still hanging in there. I mean, he hasn't completely crapped the bed like we were expecting him to. So he's learning, at least.
He's been in the Joy for at least a full year at this point, spending most of that as a Sekiwake. So Takanosho is definitely a threat to take some matches off of Terunofuji. He's done so in the past. I think he's actually got a pretty favorable record against Terunofuji. But
he like you said though, like he's been Sekiwake for a year. We should have more faith in this guy, but like
we're not there yet.
He's only ever gotten 10 wins in a tournament in this range on the Bansuke. So he's not he's a threat to could he take one off of Terunofuji? Yeah. Could he string together 13, 14 wins in a tournament? Not from this rank, not from what we've seen.
No faith in that. Yeah.
But he could be a spoiler. Definitely could be a spoiler.
But he could be like Daisho.
Yes.
Who would have seen Daisho going 13-2 and winning the Hatsu Basho? Takanosho could do the same thing. I doubt it with a healthy Terunofuji. That's the thing. Terunofuji being healthy this past year has shut down any chance for those surprise Yusho. Because in January, when Daisho won it and Terunofuji wasn't involved in the Yusho or June Yusho, that was when Terunofuji pulled out after the first week.
Yeah, there's a lot of people kind of on the fringes right now. It's just I think it's just going to depend a lot of how they kind of develop. Like you say, Takanosho, he's not there yet. But look at Terunofuji. He was Ozeki for a very long time. He wasn't able to go to the Yokozuna step, to the next step. We have a lot of people on the fringes who are really good, but they're not yet able to take that next step. And I think just kind of waiting and seeing who that person's going to be is what's going to depend on.
That's the exciting part for me.
I really think B was onto something in that recap where he mentioned like Terunofuji. The next guy is going to be like the A-lister that... The more we talk about it, I think the more I'm kind of signing on to that idea too. We get another 3-4 years with Terunofuji, and this new crop kind of rising up. Maybe 1 or 2 guys will separate themselves there, but I don't know.
Good job, B. This is why you're our field correspondent.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Maybe we should pay him this month. The whole table laughs.
I need to get one Basho where we're approving of his work. To start paying him. Let's string together a couple. Let's give him an Ozeki run.
Give him enough praise that he doesn't quit.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're probably all in on Terunofuji Yusho here, but I do want to get everybody on the record. What record do you think Terunofuji will get? I don't think he's going to get a Zensho Yusho until I'm proven otherwise. Hakuho just doesn't allow other people to get Zensho Yusho, whether he's there or not.
Even from the sidelines, he's like,
he will do something to make Terunofuji slip up once. So I've got Terunofuji going 14-1 for the second straight Basho to win his first tournament at... You know what? No, I'm going to stick with 14-1.
Maybe.
What about you, Jake?
I'm going to give him 13-2. I do think he'll take it, but kind of like you said. There's still enough doubts, and he is most likely mortal as opposed to Hakuho, right? So most
the demigod
likely,
that is Hakuho.
Yeah,
like a regular Yokozuna, like that's kind of that's kind of why I'm hedging a little bit.
I mean,
we
laugh, but Jake's not wrong.
No, absolutely. We laugh because it's like, yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah. What about you, Flair? What's the magic number for Terunofuji? I'm
going to be going exactly with your guess in 14-1.
Right.
The big one being potentially Takakesho. Like, I'm very curious to kind of see how he starts to do. Like, we're very worried about that injury because it sounds like it could be serious. But before that, he was like a serious contender against Terunofuji, where Terunofuji was winning, I believe, more so than not. Or maybe they went 50-50 against each other. So, I don't know. I think, 14-1 is what I'm going to go for.
All right. Yeah, we should call out who we think he loses to. And I'm going to say him and Takayasu have been evenly matched. Terunofuji has taken the past couple from Takayasu. So I think early week 1 slip up for Terunofuji gets him his 1 loss for me, but then he runs the table the rest of the way out.
I had forgotten about the Terunofuji versus Takakesho lifetime record. This is just so cool to me that they are 3-4. 2 times they've been in a playoff, and they split them. So healthy long-term Terunofuji, that could be the rivalry. That could be the 2 guys at the top. That'd be amazing.
Who are your 2 losses for Terunofuji? Just for funsies.
Just for funsies, let's say Takakesho, and I want to say Takayasu and fanboy out on him as I always do, but I do think it'll be somebody early. Let's go with Hoshoryu, somebody like that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
I would love to see one of the young guys take him out.
Yeah.
If somebody was to, one of the young guys in the Joy. What about you, Mac?
I'm going to echo what Jake said with 13-2. I think he's going to have at least 1 slip up, and then again that rivalry with Takakesho, like you mentioned before. That's definitely one that could go either way with that. But so Takakesho is the one I'm thinking, he might slip up on that. But then I'm going to go with the wild card since I was thinking Hoshoryu. But we're going to go for a little difference here. I'm going to say the hot streak Meisei.
Okay.
Meisei.
The Shin Sekiwake.
I like it.
All right. Yeah, my other one number that I wasn't thinking 13-2. If I was going to go off of 14-1, it'd be 12-3 because that's where Terunofuji has won 3 of his Yusho. Is at a 12-3
also
record.
true.
Yeah. But I do think him obviously winning the first 14 last time. Maybe it was because Hakuho was there alongside pushing him, knowing I have to win this if I want to win the Yusho. With Hakuho not there, that might be a little less fire. It's like, if I lose one, I'm still going to win this Basho by 2 or 3 wins.
That's a good point. This is not his make or break Basho for becoming Yokozuna.
Yeah, exactly.
So he might have a little bit less fire. Maybe he has a little bit of that Yokozuna hangover.
F it, 12-3. Takayasu. We'll go Takakesho as well, and then we'll throw it. Let's like Kiribayama, another one of the young guys. That would be fun if he
wild
won.
card.
Yeah. All right. And a few of us are predicting like Kiribayama to win, Hoshoryu to win. Another fun fact. We're bringing it back. There have been no
2 fun facts in 1 episode.
Oh Lord, I can't handle it.
Who is this man?
It's a special bonus-sized episode just because we're back in person. So there have been no Kinboshi since July of 2020, day 1, and that is when Kakuryu missed a trip attempt against Endo
and wrestled, Charlie Brown
and wrestled the last match of his career.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's hope the streak. I want to change my mind. That I hope that streak continues forever.
All right, let's move on to 2 of our Ozeki, our only 2 Ozeki. We'll start with.
So how about them? Let's do those
that's
guys.
the only 2.
Lucky to be Ozeki Shodai. He has injured his arm in day 2 of the combo practice, and then he pulled out of days 3 and 4. He has been practicing against his stablemate Hitakeyama since then, so it doesn't sound like there's really an issue of if he's going to compete or not. It does sound like when he was at the combo practice, Kasugano Oyakata did not like his weak Butsukari and kind of grilled him over that in front of everybody, which that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, I remember reading a quote about that. Apparently, he was too busy socializing and hanging out with all this Rikishi. And it was like, no, I'm having too much fun.
The Hide Umi effect, if you will.
But with
Sumo and bros.
Yeah,
Sumo and bros.
with what less babes and more just sumo dudes, sumo bros.
Hey, we don't know what he's into.
That's fair. We have some sumo erotica written by Fleric that we don't know if it was true or not.
Oh, that is true.
Oh, show that, yeah.
He could be into some forums talking
that.
about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. That could be true. That might be the case.
Fleric might be scouting some forums on like the dark web about the true sexual exploits of Rikishi.
What was the phrase that John Gunning used? That was like this.
Kubinage.
That was slang. Yeah.
Sex amongst Rikishi.
Good. Yeah, if you haven't listened to that one is one of the more silly, goofing around podcasts we've ever done.
And honestly, one of the most fun times I think we've ever had on this show.
only behind every other podcast that John Gunning wasn't on does it rank in
all right,
fun
all right.
that I've had. But yeah, I said he's lucky to be Ozeki just because Shodai has been less than impressive as an Ozeki. He hasn't gotten double-digit wins in 3 Basho as an Ozeki. He's been Kataban twice in his just 5 Basho as an Ozeki. A lot of people are starting to say he's slipping back to the sumo that had him as a constant Maegashira 3, 4, 5 range, which as an Ozeki shouldn't be doing that.
He was either Megashira 3 or 4 for about 2 years, with one exception.
So with all that being said, with Shodai regressing, not showing the same level sumo at all that we saw in 2020, Mac, make your best argument as to why this Basso Shodai will finish with double-digit wins.
You know, while I usually appreciate the talking points that you give me, did you really have to give me this one? I had to dig deep.
I put my best thinker on this question.
I had to dig deep for this one.
Yeah. Normally when he gives me a show that question, I just curse for 2 minutes.
Yeah, hot garbage.
Hopefully it's going to be a lot less editing work if we have Mac do this one instead.
So in looking at this, he's Kataban. He's been here before.
He is not Kataban, actually. He did barely scrape by. He had 8 and 7 last time. So he is not Kataban. His rank is not on the line, which means he probably will lose and his rank will be on the line.
And what I meant by that is his Oyakata is not happy with his performances as an Ozeki. So in my mind, he's in Kataban mode. So he has to perform well. Or his Oyakata is going to tear him a new one again. And with this stage, so if his Butsukari isn't that great, if he's not taking out that impact high into his chest like we've normally seen him do, that's not how he won all of his matches. We know he's tricky on the Tawara. It's luck and the Tawara ballet. That's how he's going to pull this off.
I don't know if that's how an Ozeki should be planning to wrestle.
Well, we're not worried about the planning stage here.
Yeah. Remember, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if we memed this or if I actually read this, but Shodai doesn't look to see who his opponent is until the day of the match. He doesn't go to bed knowing who his opponent is. He just kind of wakes up and then just goes in and does sumo. I'm pretty sure that's real and we didn't meme that. But
oh god, I know that we joked about it a lot. That he doesn't remember sumo happens until they say
right
Hakioi
as soon as he
and
walks up.
But I thought there was something that spawned that, right?
Yeah, at least he didn't used to prepare a whole lot for his upcoming matches.
Regardless, though, as disappointing as his entire career, except for 2019 and 2020, was not disappointing. I mean, he's still one of the best in the world. But what the hell happened on that run? We thought that he had just completely turned a corner in late 2019.
He learned how to tachi and then he forgot.
It's frustrating to see those results come through just so incredibly strongly, and then to just fall right back into mediocrity. He's going against the same guys that he's been going up against
his opponents
for
haven't
5 years or
changed.
so.
Yeah.
Or at least the level of his opponents, I should say, because there's been so much turnover up there. But yeah, it's just really weird and frustrating to see him go right back to a 50-50 wrestler after a complete breakout year that we thought was going to be a big page being turned.
Yeah.
So I will throw a prediction out there too for him. Who does this Ozeki, his career as an Ozeki so far, remind you of as a Rikishi? Ryan?
That would be Mr. Goedo.
Mr. Goedo. And how does Goedo typically do during Akibashos?
Goedo does very well during the Akibasho.
So, yeah. So I'm thinking, mediocre Ozeki, Akibasho does what they pick one basho that they're going to do well on. Hakuho and Miyagino's already all out, so Shodai he's set.
And when did Shodai win his Yusho? Aki of last year.
We should have known right then.
Yeah, we should have known.
So as I said, you gave me this one. I'm like, yep, this is what's going to happen.
When did Goedo retire? I want to see how that translates to when Shodai started doing good. I'm very curious.
He passed on his spirit or something like that.
Yeah, I think Goedo retired after January of 2020.
You have it up.
I'm looking at Shodai.
There we go. Yeah, January of 2020. How do you remember this shit?
Because I'm smarter than you.
Ryan also has as a savant when it comes to sports knowledge, Jake. We have to acknowledge this.
It's okay.
It's fascinating what other stuff doesn't fit in there, though, because of this.
I know.
Also
I was going to say, we've outsourced this to Google.
Yeah.
You guys do technology. I'll just remember everything that I've literally seen happen in all of sumo. But yeah, so Shodai went 11-4 in November 2019, and then his 13-2.
Goedo had no wins in that one at all.
That's right. And then in 2020, he went 13-2 as Goedo was waning. Shodai was siphoning off his power. Shodai got his first ever 13-win basho in the top division.
He was like, "I'm gonna suck the talent out of Goedo." Oh no, too much.
oh God, why?
And then March, the first basho, we didn't have Goedo. He was 8-7. He was acclimating himself to the new energy
the
within
pendulum
him.
swung back.
But then 11-4, 13-2. And it's like, oh, hey, that's basically how Goedo got his Ozeki run. 2 double-digit performances with an 8-win performance at Sekiwake. Exactly what Goedo did. First basho as an Ozeki. What did Goedo love to do as an Ozeki? Go Kadoban, and that's what Shodai did. Jesus H. Tap Dancing Christ. Shodai siphoned the energy of Goedo, forcing him to retire and becoming a mediocrity at the Ozeki level for the next 6 years.
Becoming the absolute peak of medium. just inspirational.
All we know is maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, he's on the neutral planet from Futurama.
Exactly.
And thusly, 15-0 Zensu Yusho Shodai.
Oh God, no! It is Aki. It is Aki.
QED.
Waki Aki.
QED.
I believe. I've convinced myself.
Oh God, no!
Yes, please pick him in our prediction series. Do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
by the time I get around to choosing my champ with the 4th pick because I won the last one, he might be all that's left. Let's talk about the other Ozeki.
We do have a lot left to cover. We
do.
Yeah. Takakesho. So as we mentioned, he had to pull out of the Nagoya Basho because he just ran straight into Ichinojo. His neck did not like that, and he pulled out for the rest of the tournament. But it does sound like he is back to practicing. It sounds like he's going to be participating. I haven't heard anything otherwise. And so I kind of wanted to look at Takakesho's record in recent basho after he's pulled out, because he's pulled out of quite a few tournaments recently after becoming an Ozeki. So after becoming Ozeki, this is how he performed in bashos after he had to pull out of one. So in Aki of 2019, he was 12-3, lost in a playoff to Mataki Umi in that one. In Aki of 2020, pulled out of the previous one, he went 12-3 again. Haru of 2021, he had pulled out of the Hatsu Basho, and then he went 10-5 in the Haru. So he does pretty dang well coming back from injury as an Ozeki and defending his Ozeki status.
Yeah, I will say this seems like a different injury than the muscular ones he got typically before. Before he had a torn pectoral muscle. Blech. Or some other kind of like other muscular thing. Herniated disc, I believe he got in his neck.
Yep,
is what he had last time. That I don't know. We'll
that takes a while to heal.
It depends on the severities. Everything I've read, like it could be a very minor herniated disc or something like major that takes months and months to heal. So I guess I'll be a little bit more wary of him doing better, but if he's looking pretty good, it's probably going to be a promising sign. I guess the big point I was trying to get across is like this is a different type of injury. I'm very curious how he's going to bounce back from this.
Yeah, anybody else have any thoughts on Takakesho? I mean, there's really not a whole lot to talk about right now with him. He is Kadoban, so he does need to get a winning record to maintain his Ozeki rank. We have seen in the past he's lost his Ozeki rank and was able to get the 10 wins necessary to regain that rank. So even if he does not perform or not even join this tournament, still has a chance, good chance, I would say, to regain that rank in the next tournament. So I'll just ask everybody this. I was initially going to ask how many Ozeki will have just a winning record this basho, but I've changed it. I've now talked myself up enough that how many Ozeki are going to have double-digit winning bashos in this tournament? So, Mac, do you think either, neither, both have 10 or more wins this tournament?
Neither.
Neither. All right.
He's not aboard the Shodai.
Do you?
I did my
train.
record. I looked in. You gave me my talking points. Like, of course, this is what I'm supposed to talk about. No, God, no.
So I completely understand the Shodai one. You're completely missing the train on how he siphoned off Goedo energy and how he's going to be amazing.
But now he's got nobody to siphon off of. Goedo's been gone. He's got no energy to siphon off of now.
He's still alive in the closet. He's like super skinny. He's like a skeleton now.
Give me more.
Goedo is like an eternal being. Like his energy never dissipates. It's always there. It's just never all that good.
It's a force of nature.
Yeah.
He's more than a man.
It's the Supreme Kai versus Beerus here from Dragon Ball Z. It's like, you just have to exist.
So if you're not thinking Takakesho gets double-digit wins, that only leaves him a 2-win window where he maintains his Ozeki status in your mind. Do you think he does maintain his Ozeki status this Basho?
I think that is going to be a point of contention because I think he really needs to take his neck injury serious. I know he's been feeling good, but as Fleric was saying, depends on the severity of the herniated disc. You can re-aggravate that for nothing, and then your whole career can be jeopardized.
He's only 24, too.
And that's the other factor that I'm trying to think of is here is he's young enough that if he does have to take another Basho off, he can come back. He can still. He's young enough. He can still climb the ranks back again. He's done it before. He can do it again. So I think this is going to be maybe a 9-6, 8-7 scenario for him.
You do think he'll thread that needle?
I think very gingerly he's going to thread that needle.
I mean, you mentioned the injury, and clearly that is the number one story for him, but you got to remember he is on like the greatest performance-enhancing drug known to man, and that is being in your 20s.
25.
You're not wrong.
So he is 25 now, no longer 24.
But still, he's okay.
Yeah, as recent 30-year-olds, I think we understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do say oof a lot when I sit down now.
Yep.
Yeah, not just getting up, but sitting down as well.
And you groan when you stand up like, ugh.
My knee randomly started hurting after playing pickleball. High speed stuff right there.
None of us are able to predict when it's going to rain with our knees yet, right?
My wife can. But
okay.
Apparently that's more of a thing, like she's injured both of her knees, so now they're somehow... I still think that it's like, magic
placebo effect or something.
Yeah.
old
I hurt my knee and now it knows the future.
It's like an old husband's tale, like an old wives' tale, but for old men, where they say that I don't know, whatever. But she can sense when it's going to rain with her knees somehow.
What a crappy superpower.
It's the dumbest.
God.
My knee's telling me 2 inches overnight.
So I'm going to leave that one there. I'm instead going to answer the question.
Why?
And say one Ozeki will get double digits.
Which one?
I think it'll be Shodai.
Attaboy.
Because I want to, not because you told me, is the phrase coming to mind. Because I don't know. As frustrated as I am with like I said before, his like kind of falling right back down into where he was before, I'm hoping it's just a slump, because I do think that what he showed in the last couple of years is really hopeful, and I also really want there to be more of a pack at the top. I want there to be Terunofuji and Takakesho and Shodai, and I'm kind of picking with my heart, but I don't trust Takakesho coming off that injury to get double digits.
All right, Fleric, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with you on Takakesho. I just need to see how he responds to it. One thing I'll be keeping an eye out is his Tachi-Ai to see if he adjusts it at all. Because I think he's one very guilty of kind of going like head down, like headbutt his person during the Tachi-Ai. Sure. And I think he wins a lot of Tachi-Ais like that. But he still might be able to, if he does more of like kind of standing straight up and then just kind of pushing like straight away, he might be able to have great success with that. We'll have to kind of wait and see on that. But I just have to see some sumo from that guy.
Or at least come in at the same angle, but with more hand than head. Right.
More
just
hand,
something that's not compressing his spine as a weapon.
Less banging of the coconuts.
Exactly, yeah. Or maybe like a Takayasu kind of like shoulder like hit. Sure. Mm-hmm. Or maybe just like a Hakuho, like just a shoulder to the
just
elbow
start
to the
leading
face.
with the elbow, yeah.
Kachiage. And also for Shodai, now that I have successfully raised his expecting to 15-0 win the whole entire Basho.
Wow.
This is Shodai we're talking about. And as soon as we expect him to do something, he's going to let you down.
Yes.
So
fair.
he's going to go Kadban. He's not going to Kachikoshi.
All right.
0.
0. All right.
0.
Y'all are fools. Believe in the meme. 2. We're going to have 2 double-digit winning records for Ozeki. Shodai channeling that big Goedo energy, and Takakesho Takakesho. The history doesn't lie. We've been concerned about him coming back from injuries in the past. I know it's a different neck injury. Takakesho don't care. Sumo wrestlers don't care. He's going to come back. He's going to get double digits. Shodai's going to get double digits. Y'all are going to laugh at me because I said this, but I'm going to be the one laughing on the recap episode, and then we'll all be laughing once we realize, oh my God, Shodai did steal Goeido's soul.
We need to archive this so that when he tries to say, "Oh no, we didn't talk about that on the preview," and when he's totally wrong, yeah.
We'll definitely forget about it. That's the issue.
I won't.
Also true.
I have
everyone but Ryan, because Ryan will remember everything.
But
But I'm also the one controlling what we're talking about at the end. So if I didn't do well, it just won't show up on the outline for the recap.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, let's talk about our junior Sanyaku rank, Sekiwake, Komosubi. We've got Mataki Umi, Takayasu, and Ichi Nojo. All of them participated in the first 2 days of the combo practice. All of these guys are veterans of the junior Sanyaku ranks. They've been here before plenty of times. And then you have Meisei, who will be making his Sekiwake debut and just his second basho in the Sanyaku ranks. And you still do have Asanoyama. He will be Sekiwake in this basho, serving the second basho of his 6 basho suspension. If he can defy all the odds and somehow manage 10 wins without showing up, he will be Ozeki in the next tournament. Anybody putting their bets on that? No. Wise. So yeah, next basho, Asanoyama will start the really fast fall down the Bansuke. He'll be Maegashira like 12 through 15, something like that, and then he'll start dropping ranks after, or dropping divisions after that.
Majorly at that point.
But for this one, he is still a Sekiwake. We don't have any of these Rikishi are in danger of becoming an Ozeki in the next basho. Nobody is on any
danger.
Yeah. You've seen what it's done to Takakesho's health. He can't stay healthy for a full year. And then Shodai just became a shadow of himself after he became Ozeki.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you could do for yourself.
Ignore Teruno Fuji. He's an outlier that defies my point.
Yeah, I was just looking into it. Literally, I think the only person who can would be Mataki Umi if he blows things out of the water completely.
Yeah. Does he have...
He got 10 wins and then 8 wins. So mathematically, he can still reach. I'm just saying, that's how bad it is. That's how deep we have to reach for a possible Ozeki.
That's bad.
Yeah.
We don't have that storyline whatsoever in this show.
So, Fleric, of the 4 competing junior Sanyaku Rikishi, who do you think has the best chance and who do you think has the worst chance at having a breakout basho? We're talking about Mataki Umi, Takayasu, Meisei, and Ichi Nojo.
Interesting. Of those 4. I think of those 4, the one who has the best chance is probably Takayasu. Simply because he's been actually on a good tear. Like we've seen a lot of shades of his former self of like getting like, I think it was like double-digit wins, like multiple bashos in a row.
Yep.
Last time he had like back pains and like he couldn't.
He sat out the first 2 days.
Yeah. So that was kind of he Maki Koshi'd after that, but like what I've seen from the last like handful of bashos is that he's starting to get kind of back into form. So I could easily see him figure some stuff out and be able to get like a double-digit, like lots of wins this entire basho.
Yeah. He's definitely not like washed yet. Like he's still in the he's still like young enough that if he shows up healthy, he can absolutely compete. But he
is on the other side of 30 though.
31 years old.
Barely.
Yeah.
He's as old as we are.
If only I was 31.
Yeah, you're older.
No.
Oh yeah, he's as old as Jake.
He's the same age as me and Ryan.
Yeah, it's a good try.
Yeah. Like 1 year makes that big of a difference.
Yeah.
We're in our 30s, so yeah, kind of.
You don't know anything yet.
Whatever.
I don't know if I could be like a year or 2 ago.
Right.
How nice that would be.
I'm sorry to butt in. I was gonna agree with you, so I thought I would toss that in there real quick.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I'll throw the other thing is that he's the only one who's been an Ozeki before. So, like, we know he has some skill. He has some that, I guess, I don't know. He has some history behind that, so I'll probably say him.
Anybody else have any other thoughts as far as who you think will do the best out of these 4 Rikishi?
It'd be cool if it was Meisei, just for, like, novelty's sake of having another guy in the top conversation, but I don't know. I kind of got to see it before I believe it.
Same here.
I don't know. For me, for the first time, I think ever, I'm kind of feeling Ichi Nojo in this basho.
Really?
I think he could break out and do pretty good. He had 10-5 record the last time for Maegashira 2. I think he has a good chance of stringing together a pretty good basho. We've seen him break out a couple of times in his career. He's gotten a 13-2 once and lost to Hakuho in the end. And then he had a 14-1 and lost to a Hakuho Zensho Yusho.
Respect.
So it's been a little while since that 14-1. That was back in Haru 2019. So I think we're due for another big Ichi Nojo basho. And so I don't know. I'm kind of feeling Ichi Nojo this basho.
He definitely has the potential to do it.
Yeah.
So he's just so famously for being like Snorlax, awake some days and just like asleep during the match.
And I think I didn't quite see that as much in the last basho, which kind of gives me hope. But it could be more like, I was awake last basho, so I was sleepy this whole basho.
Somebody play the polka flute. Wake him up.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I have positive feelings about Ichi Nojo for once. And it's weird, and I don't know what to do with them.
Rare for you.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with these feelings, except speak them out into the podcast and hope he hears them and uses it as motivation to do well and make me sound smart.
You also had semi-positive things to say about Goedo. Who are you?
I don't know that they were positive things about
Channeling
Goedo.
his energy.
I mean, you could channel you could channel Shonan Sakura's energy. It doesn't mean it's good energy.
How dare you? How dare you?
That
Too
wound is
soon.
still fresh.
Too soon.
Yeah, we might as well get to it now since we brought him up. Shonan Sakura, the former Hattori Sakura, has decided to hang it up after 104 straight losses in the Jonokuchi division. I really felt like this next one was going to be his basho. If he could have just stuck it out for one more, I really think we would have started seeing all of his trading pay dividends. But it is sad kind of see him go. It's always
A bit of an icon.
Yeah.
And
an
somebody who,
ironic
like-
icon.
Yeah, but like somebody who like you 100% cannot say that guy didn't love sumo wrestling.
Exactly.
So that was always kind of inspirational to me.
I kind of never thought we'd see the day that he retire. I just kind of thought he would just go forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd retire when he dies of natural causes at 94 or something.
Yeah, exactly. What's the 50-year-old guy that's still hanging around?
Hanakaze.
Hanakaze. Yeah. He could be like him. I'm curious. Shonan Sakura's still not all that old for having been in sumo since 2015. He's 23 years old.
But he was still the one that you always rooted for. You
Absolutely.
wanted
Not yet.
him to do well.
Yep.
All right, what else were we talking about?
We didn't even mention Mataki Umi because we all kind of know he's most likely going to be between 6 and 9 wins, and that's fine.
Yeah, he's another kind of like Ichi Nojo in my mind. He has potential to break out and do very well. He won a couple Yishos, right?
But he's so spurty. That's what's bad is he's not consistent.
Yeah, it's just impossible to say with any certainty that he have some consistent bashos.
Yeah.
There's
So-
only 4 active wrestlers with multiple tournament wins, and one of them is Mataki Umi.
Oh, man.
Terunofuji, Hakuho,
Takakesho.
Takakesho.
Yep, Mitaki Umi's definitely an outlier there. But, I mean, he's still Sekiwake.
And that's fine. And that was kind of like the end of my thesis on that topic was, and that's fine.
He's seeing what the Oseki rank does to people, so he's trying to
Nope.
Take it easy.
Not going there.
All right. Let's talk about a few other Rikishi that we haven't gotten to yet outside of the Sanyaku ranks. So I want to talk about a couple of guys that are between the ranks of Maegashira 1 and Maegashira 4. We've got 3 Actually, the entirety of those 3 ranks is full of kind of young up-and-comers. I think
like Tamawashi.
Well, I said, I did say
Old
Maegashira 4. Let's cap it at Maegashira 3. But you have Hoshoryu, Takanosho, Hokuto Fuji, Kiribayama, Wakatakakage, Koto Nowaka. The oldest one in there is Hokuto Fuji. I think he's still 28.
He's 29.
He's 29. But then the next oldest out of that group, I think, is Takanosho and Kiribayama, both who are 26. So we got a pretty young crop of guys that are looking to break into the Sanyaku ranks for the first time. If you're Hoshoryu, again, if you're like Hokuto Fuji, Wakataka Kage, even like Koto Nowaka, who had a 12-3 record last time down at Maegashira 11. Let's see, can he translate that into a winning record up in the Joy? It'll be very interesting to see if this young crop goes the way a lot of the top 3 ranks at Maegashira's do, where they just get absolutely decimated and sent down to the bottom, or if these guys have a lot of fight in them and they don't go down. I mean, we've seen Wakataka Kage, his first foray into the Joy, I think he got like a 7 and 8 in the first time, but then he made it up to the Komusubi rank before kind of getting knocked down a little bit. Kiribayama, he's never really had an absolutely awful basho at this rank. Usually he gets around 6 and 9 at this rank. Hoshoryu, we'll see how he can do the first time. Koto Nowaka, how he can do the first time. But I don't think we're going to see bashos like Kotoeko, where these guys went 2 and 13 in the previous basho, or Chiyu Tairyu,
anyway.
who went 4 and 11. Maybe one of these guys will go 4 and 11, but I really don't think we're going to see like the absolute destruction of these 6 guys. I think, honestly, if one of these guys gets destroyed, it'll probably be Hokuto Fuji.
Yeah.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
So
I'm just real excited to see how this younger crop of guys can do in the top 3 ranks that are going to be going up against our Yokozuna and Ozeki. That'll be a really... That'll just provide fun matchups every single day, and a lot of first-time matchups for some of these guys like Hoshoryu and Koto Nowaka.
Yeah.
Mac, what about the ranks of Maegashira 5 through 8? Who do you want to highlight there?
The one that I want to highlight is going to be echoing what you said. Young, entertaining, and similar to our current Yokozuna, glass knees. That would be Ura. He is at Maegashira 6.
Not as young as we think he is. He's 29.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
oh no.
Oh, no. But he's still
That always shocks me every time I see that number.
He's at least on the right side of 30 at this
Yes.
point. But he's working his way back up the Bansuke, still entertaining. For the love of God, look after those knees.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, Jake, what about the ranks of Maegashira 9 through Maegashira 12?
I think there's a couple guys in here. There's not a lot of super. There's nobody here that I think is super likely to have a huge breakout tournament. Obviously, it could happen, but at this rank, I notice a lot of like guys that could retire pretty quick that we haven't really brought up. We've talked about Tochinoshin retiring a number of times, but like, what about Aoyama and Miyogiryu, who are both 34 or 35-ish? Like, those guys have just been like staples for so long that
Chiyu Tairyu even in there.
He's only 32. I looked at him too, but he's younger than I thought he was.
Okay.
But either way, like there's a bunch of guys in that little range that we haven't guys that are like worthy of maybe not having an entire bonus episode, but having at least a segment on their career when they do finally hang it up. Because like just Miyogiryu has done so little to be like noteworthy in the time that we've been watching sumo, but like at the same time he's been there the whole time, So it's gonna be weird when some of these guys retire, and I feel like Miyogiryu and Aoyama in particular, I feel like they could go at any time, and we'd just like not know what we had.
Yeah, I
Long
feel
for the old days.
Right.
Long for the old days. If only the future, the ba that is Aoyama.
Remember when Takakaze and Tochiozan were at the top of the Bansuke?
Oh, Tochiozan.
Yeah.
And Yoshikaze?
Oh.
Poor battered Yoshikaze.
Takakaze.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? I get the impression they're, at least for Aoyama, is like he's gonna go the route of Gagamaru if he's gonna stick around until he's no longer in salary ranks.
Sure.
Like once he gets kicked
Yeah.
down. Because I think Tochinoshin doesn't have like a farm in like Georgia somewhere that he has
Probably.
to pay off.
I remember seeing the reception he got when he came home as an Ozeki the first time. He's gonna be fine.
He
He's
has
a celebrity.
an entourage
That's a
waiting
good
for
point.
him.
Yeah.
All right, Flerick, what about the guys ranked Maegashira 13 to 17? Who should we feast our eyes upon?
I was
Big
you
things from
said-
Kageyaki, right?
You said numbers that were not the ones I thought of. But yeah, I think you're right with the 13 to 17. So
I know, because I wrote it.
Yeah. Is that the end of it?
Yes.
Okay.
That is-
Yes, that is the bottom of the Bansuke.
Okay. So they were the numbers I thought. For some reason, I thought the ranks of Maegashira went down to like 30 or something.
That is incorrect.
No.
How long have you watched sumo wrestling?
It's there's no way to tell. It's not like we have a podcast
It's a mystery.
No.
that just completely documents it. All right, what was I going to say? All right, so of these, there's some fan favorites down here at the bottom of the Bansuke, but I would like to point out 2 people and storylines of those 2, performance-wise. First off, Ichi Yamamoto. We talked about him last time. He's kind of like his first basho in Makuuchi was last time.
Mm-hmm.
He's 27 years old. So not quite the 29 dreaded. But
Ryan shocked every time he sees it.
yeah, but like he's someone like I guess 2 years ago in 2019 is when he first got to Juryo, but he quickly got injured and he kicked back to Makushita, and then like 2021 he just blew through Juryo in 2 bashos, and then like last time he was in Makuuchi he got his Kachikoshi, so he said he can stick around, and I'm just kind of curious of whether or not he after this experience he just kind of becomes a mainstay or what he kind of does with this. So that's one person I'm going to keep an eye out for. The other one is Hitakeyama. He's someone who's been around for a long time. We've seen some high highs and some very low lows, but he kind of seems to be up on like a kind of respurt. Like I think he had 2, 10, and 5 bashos.
Yeah, he'll make it up to Maegashira
Juryo.
1 through 3, get like a 2 and 13, 3 and 12 record, fall down to Juryo, rinse and repeat for probably the next few years.
Yeah. So he's definitely been like going through some problems, but I think Juryo he's had 2 very good bashos, so he might be on another upspurt. We just need to see how he does against some Makuuchi opponents.
Yeah, so let's see. Yutakeyama, he made it up to Maegashira 2 in 2018. Then he fell every basho till he got down to Juryo. And then he got back to Makuuchi in 2019, rose every basho till he got to Maegashira 1, fell every basho till he got back down to Juryo, and now he's been rising ever since he got to Juryo back up to Maegashira 14.
Yeah.
So he's going to
okay.
rise until Maegashira 1 to 3, and then he's immediately going to fall back down to Juryo.
That is a much firmer pattern than I expected that to be when you started that.
Me too. All right, let's talk about some news items. There was a pretty decent-sized story that happened during this extra long break between Basho. I say extra long. It was only an extra week or 2 because of the Olympics. The Takaganja scandal.
You come up with that all on your own, didn't
No, literally everybody on Twitter and Reddit and Sumo forums came up with it.
Because it is just sublime.
you? Yes. No. No disrespect.
Oh.
Well done.
But Mr. Takagenji, who we've highlighted before in the news section for not good reasons, he used marijuana. Ooh.
Oh, no.
It's bad.
Which is completely illegal in Japan. But more importantly, he lied. Well, actually, I don't think in the case of marijuana, more importantly. But he also lied to the JSA about it. Marijuana use stipulates dismissal according to JSA regulations. JSA West, we might try to lighten that penalty a little bit / eliminate it. But
the fact that it is like that illegal in Japan,
yeah.
my
So
hands are pretty tied.
if you look at Bonsuke's, like on Sumo DB, at the rank of Juryo 9 West, I believe it's just a completely blank spot. There's no name there.
Scrubbed him.
They scrubbed his name from existence. That's where he would have been ranked, but because he was forced to retire, they just took his name off.
Nope.
So
I hope there's like a man-sized blank in like every like Doyo Iri where they line up. I hope there's just like
Just a
2 seconds of
missing person.
silence in between like Juryo 8 and Juryo 10 when they're listing names. I hope everything is just like a hole that they're like refusing to acknowledge.
yeah.
Wow.
But all this
That would be
happened
great.
like back in late July, early August. But there's actually an update to that story that I saw just this morning. Police very recently conducted a search of his apartment and found more weed. Charges were pressed against him, and he said that he has acquired 5 grams of weed each month for at least the past 6 months, and he's just gotten it from somebody on Twitter.
What?
But once again, possession of marijuana completely illegal in Japan, so don't know if he's like if it's like a jail sentence for him or what's going on, but Takagenji is in trouble besides being forced out of Sumo.
They're not even supposed to have Twitter. Like, all the Rikshu are supposed to be banned from
That's
social
why they
media.
kicked him out, yeah.
It's like, no, wait a minute. So, like, hold on. He's violating many rules here.
Yeah,
That's
the
fair.
weed stuff. But yeah, but Twitter?
No Twitter.
Whoa, hold on.
No. Abi. So all because of Abi.
Yeah. But this is just another in a long string of bad things to happen to Rikshi in Tatayama Oyakata's stable, and he has now been demoted to the lowest rank of Toshiori in the JSA. Because in addition to Takagenji, who had previously been reprimanded for hitting Hitsuke Bito, Takanoiwa has been forced to retire
for hitting his Sukebito.
Takano Fuji has been forced to retire
For hitting his Sukebito.
and now Takagenji has been
For
forced to
smoking the reefer.
Yeah. All have been forced to retire underneath his watch. All of them also came from Takano Hana's stable.
Hitting the bong. That's what the joke was. Damn it. Hitting the Tsukebito, then hitting the hot.
Do you want to just start over from the beginning of the podcast?
It's too late.
So we can get that
I'm
right?
too angry. It won't even work.
After this happened, the JSA warned all rikishi again that drug use is strictly forbidden, and they are considering workshops and general drug tests for all rikishi in the future. So if you are in sumo, don't smoke weed.
Yeah, don't do it.
Okay.
It's very much against the rules. You might disagree with that rule, but rule's the rule, so you got to follow the rules. And then the other thing of note, Araiso Oyakata is branching off on his own. The Araiso Beya is officially opening up. He brought 4 rikishi along with him, those being Kato, Nishihara, Taniguchi, and Adachi.
Yeah.
Hold me closer, Taniguchi.
Taniguchi. Yeah. This
That's
is
almost as good as my hit the bong joke would have been.
Yeah, this is I've been kind of keeping an eye on this story because this is Kiseno Sato. He's famously actually went to a very after retirement. He went to a prestigious university and studied and got a master's degree in running a heya. And this is him actually kind of like throwing down and putting that into practice.
Right on.
And there's it's kind of cool to see how it goes down. Like he decided to make a heya that's like kind of further away outside of Tokyo. It's kind of closer to his hometown. But because of that, they have like a lot of space. Apparently he wants to have up to 2 dohyos like next to each other, so like some training can happen at the same time, or possible like have some younger like kid sumo going on aside where they can look over and see the like rikishi practicing right next to him, kind of inspire him that way. He with a lot of space, like it sounds like everyone's gonna pretty much kind of get their own room while they're there, because apparently like living together in one room is like a common reason why rikishi quit, and so like giving up their own space is one thing he's trying to kind of go for too. Apparently a conference room so they can study tape like of practices or something.
I am liking these changes.
Yeah, and potentially like a gift shop too, because if you look at it, it's kind of like a destination where you kind of go, oh, it's like the Kiseno Sato.
Let's
like,
travel outside Tokyo to see,
Tokyo.
Grand Sumo Breakdown, friend of the show, Araiso
Oyakata.
Oyakata.
Yeah. So it's I'm be very curious
He's
to
got
see
our
how
photo
this.
framed up there, nice and big, and she's like, "I met them."
Yeah, so I'm very curious to kind of see how it's going to go. I think one thing that's kind of been overlooked, that I think is probably important, is the fact that it's like an hour outside of Tokyo, which is it might be hard to get recruits. But if you get recruits, they're probably not going to be going out to hostess clubs and stuff like that.
Also true.
So I think it's a little smart, and the fact that you can kind of get your own room, I think is going to be pretty important. So I hope for the best. I don't think they broke ground on it, but it's like not yet done. I think next year's one's going to be completed.
Yeah, I think they have like a temporary facility.
Yeah,
right now.
like in some kind of university somewhere, I believe.
Yeah.
Is where they're kind of working out. So
Awesome.
I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yep, and he's starting off the 4 rikishi that he has. There's 1 in Jonokuchi and 3 in Jonidan. So it's probably going to be a very long while before we see anybody from Araiso Beya kind of jump up the ranks where we're seeing them compete in the Sekitori range. But, I mean, you got to start from somewhere.
Exactly. Take your time. Build them up.
All right, and with that, we are going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we will talk about where the GSB belt currently lies, and we make our predictions for our champs and our chumps. If you enjoy the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Support the show on Patreon and check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
Also, watch us on YouTube.
Welcome back. First things first, let's talk about the GSB belt. We are on our 2nd iteration, but nothing super exciting just yet because, Well, yeah.
I'm tempering my enthusiasm.
Last tournament was when we introduced the second iteration of the belt. Shonen Zakura lost that one, just like he does most of them, because
probably what drove him to retirement.
Yep. So we started with the very first match of whatever tournament we're talking about, and the winner takes the belt, carries the belt with them. If they win, they keep it. If they lose, they give the belt to the other guy, and then we track the belt till it gets to the top of the ranks. So the belt has only made its way up to the... Oh, I take it back. This is it actually made some pretty good progress in the last one because of one cross-division match where a guy in Jonidan was able to face somebody in Jonokuchi and move the belt up within the tournament, and then the guy who ended up with it did very well and got promoted to another division. So we're already up into the third division after one tournament.
Right on.
Osanai is at Sandanme 52 East. It did very well in the previous tournament from the Jonidan division, but nobody that we have otherwise heard of has been involved here. So once we get up a little bit higher, we'll probably see some names that we've heard of before. Maybe somebody goes on a nice long streak. But yeah, nothing super exciting just yet.
Well, Ura is no longer down there, and neither is Terunofuji. So I'm waiting for the next big streak at this point.
Yeah, we need somebody like Ura or Chino Kuni was the other big one, the other big name to drop down, grab the belt, and carry it for a while. So we'll update on the midway.
All right, so let's dive into our Chump predictions. Because Mac was our big loser on the previous Basho, he will get the first pick for his champ. I'm just waiting with bated breath to see who it could possibly be. And then Fleric will be the next one, followed by Jake. And then me, as your reigning, defending, undisputed champion, will have the last pick for champ.
We are disputing it right now.
Yep.
I think I'm going to have to go with it. Terunofuji.
I thought he was going 15-0 Shodai.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
So close.
Let's not forget all the data.
15 and show die.
Okay, workshop that one. That one wasn't as good.
It's
got potential though.
It's close.
That's why I said workshop it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're putting you down for Shodai?
Oh, God, no.
Damn.
That was Shodai, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that means Fleric Shodai. I'll just type that in here.
Right, Fleric?
No, I've been watching this Shodai character for a long time. This is when you expect him to do something is exactly when he doesn't do it. Just like when he became Ozeki. So I'm going to go with Takayasu.
Takayasu. All right.
Damn. I was hoping
take
Takayasu
that
would
one?
fall.
Puts Jake in a difficult
It
position.
does put me in a difficult position. I think that Takakesho healthy would be great, and if he's not healthy and pulls out early, going Kyujo, maybe I'd have an opportunity to jump ship, but I also got old reliable Mataki Umi on there that,
reliable.
If I don't want to take a huge bet, I think I'm going to steal what Ryan was probably thinking and go Ichi Nojo, though.
I was never seriously considering him for this spot. Well, actually, I was. So
he's probably on your list, but probably further down, right?
My second pick came to me because coming into this, I had a lot more faith in Takakesho's neck than any of you guys did. I thought putting the stats of how he always comes back with double-digit wins after an injury would make one of you guys take him. But I will happily select Takakesho for my pick. And if he gets hurt early, he'll probably pull out, and then I'll be able to jump ship to whoever's around there. I almost memed myself into Shodai. I thought I was going to be forced
We
to
should have
take
gotten through
him.
this quicker so that you would have still been in there.
Yeah.
So
We
yeah.
sure said, okay, let's do champ right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will take a Takakesho as my champ, and I will be very happy about it. Now we go to Chump, and
I hate my picks already. I've only made one.
This is a bit harder for the Chump, I feel like, because like I said, I don't necessarily think that anybody in Maegashira range 1 through 3 is going to have a terrible Basho. And so that means you got to kind of find the diamond in the rough. But I'm still just going to go with Kodo Nawaka. It's his first time up there, so let's not overthink this, Ryan. The guy that's jumping up 8 ranks to be in the Joy for the first time, take that guy to not do too good. All right, Jake, who do you got?
You talked so much about how you didn't think. I honestly had barely put any thought into getting another one. You know what? I think. This sucks. I don't have any faith in so many of these guys. I'm gonna go with I'm going to hate this pick just as much as I hate Ichi Nojo, I think. But I'm going to go with...
This is why you lose all the time,
This
Jake.
is why I lose it, because I tried it, I overthink it, and it's impossible to overthink something when you also have no information to base the overthinking on.
That's
so
what
there's
makes it. That's what makes it fun.
Teretsu Yoshi.
Okay. He's up at Maikashira 7?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
He's just Teretsu Yoshi. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, it's me next, right?
It is you next.
Okay. So I did the thing I normally do, which is counting the joy. Like, how far down does it go? Nice thing about Hakuho, and I think Asanoyama not there, it went down further than people expect.
True.
And I found out this person named Chiyoshoma.
Oh, did
He's technically the joy. And he's like, like a 7 and 8, 8 and 7er. But all of a sudden, he's going to be facing like Sanyaku. So he's going to be my pick.
Yep, he will be. So Chiyoshoma for Fleric. I had to double check his math.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I would have been so ticked. No.
Chiyoshoma, the top guy going against all the other middling guys.
All right, Mac.
This is going to be hard. This is like, crap, Kotono Waka's gone. Teretsu Yoshi was my secondary.
Kotono Waka, I honestly feels like the only standout, like, good pick.
Everybody's about where they should be. It
Kinda
kind of
feels
feels
like
like
that,
Yeah. It's kind of tough to get a predictor on how someone's going to do like badly, but like the first time into the joy is always usually pretty solid. Like,
Yeah.
This guy's going to get crushed.
I mean, Hoshoryu's there too, but I think we all believe in him a little more.
Yeah, and
He's been around for a bit.
I can't go against him.
I think he has a winning record against Ozeki at this point in his career. So
What is it, like 1-0 or something?
I think it's like
against
3-2.
Okay.
I'm going to hate myself for this one.
All right, let's hear it, Mac.
He's going to pick Ura.
No.
Oh, okay.
Ichi Nojo.
Ooh,
Interesting.
I
That's why I
actually like
said I'm
this.
going to hate myself for this
I like
one,
this a
but
lot.
Ichi Nojo.
How is it that I picked him to do well, you picked him to do bad, and we're both disappointed?
Because he wasn't my first choice to do poorly. My other three were picked.
Because Ichi Nojo could do either.
That's why.
And very unlikely to be right in the middle. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's gonna piss both of you off and go 8-7 or 7-8.
But the advantage that I have is Terunofuji. I hope.
That is true.
I hope.
That's
You
true.
have one match.
I have one match.
All right. So
Yeah, that's
that's what I'm
a
like,
good,
all right.
You can, yeah. Well
Hoshouryu is 3-2 against Ozeki in his career.
Well played,
I'm
Mac.
glad that 5 minutes ago us has our question answered.
Me too. Shut up.
Okie dokie.
All right. Now it is time to draw the punishment for what what the loser will be doing or having done upon them in the next recap episode.
Graceful.
You were so good at the beginning of this, and your wordsmithing has just faltered as it's gone.
I was distracted because I was trying to open up another tab, and so just
The
wasn't there.
This goes back to that technology conversation from earlier.
I can't. I still have to think too hard about it, and so I have to devote too much of my brain power to opening up a new tab, and I don't have enough left to podcast
I
properly.
can't click and
Go to
talk
paper.
at the same time.
This is why I do paper.
I'm also not 80.
Neither am I.
The paper doesn't tell you how he did last Basho or whatever it is Ryan's looking up.
So, Jake, we now once again have the Takayasu teacup of petty cash punishments and Patreon compliments.
Just all the gravitas just robbed out of the moment.
Takayasu teacup of petty cash punishments and Patreon compliments.
There you go.
There
Which
we go.
has
All right, good
never
job.
held Patreon compliments once in its life. Because
Physically, no.
We have
Physically,
two.
no.
We got more patrons than we expected, and they just won't fit in there.
No, it's,
Also true.
it is a very small teacup.
So Jake, Mac as the previous loser. We finally get somebody else
Stir it up in there. Let me
that
turn
can
the
choose the punishment. So Mac, what will our punishment be for our recap episode? Which
so much extra finger. Just grab one.
Winner can shoot the loser with darts whenever they like. Loser must then thank them.
Yes.
The last time we did this, was it Fleric?
No, it was me and all three of you tied for the bottom
that's
score. So I got to shoot all three of you with darts throughout the entirety of the episode, and it was the highlight of my podcasting career.
And obviously, we also, all three of us had Nerf
We
guns,
had our
so
own
we
weapons.
just shot the hell out of you as well.
yes, but that was mostly at the end, and I had free reign for the rest of the basho. So yes, now that we are finally back in person, we can finally shoot each other with Nerf guns again.
There were a decent
Yeah,
amount of punishments that went off of the Takayasu Teacups shelf of extra stuff that we can't do when we're not local that got swept back into the teacup for this basho.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Oh, and I don't think we mentioned it at the beginning. We're not back live 100%. This is weird.
Yes, an hour and a half into the episode.
This is weird to bury 90 minutes into the episode.
I'll put it in the description. Don't worry about it.
But for the main episodes, like previews and recaps, will probably be in person. But it's just so dang convenient to record from home.
It's so nice.
Totally.
I mean, it's the same for me,
Well,
but
say,
I don't have to look at you.
Jake.
Yeah. So those are our predictions for who we think is going to be doing well and who we think is going to be doing poorly. Some of us believe in our predictions a lot more than others.
Yes.
But if you have some strong predictions that you believe them, send them to us on Twitter. Yesterday, my time, 3 days ago, your listening time, I put out our bold prediction thread on Twitter where we've already had a lot of responses for people telling us how they think this basho will play out. Add yours to it, and whoever does the best will win a free GSB t-shirt that we'll just kind of choose based on our own criteria what the best prediction was at the end of the basho.
You must impress us.
So join the likes of Sandre the Giant and win yourself a free Grand Sumo Breakdown t-shirt. So let's move on. Once again, we have some more patrons that deserve to have praise heaped upon them. Jake, heap some praise.
Bionic Legs, we love you more than the internet loves cats.
By the silence, I'm guessing it's me next.
Yes,
that is correct.
Right. I got the thing pulled up. All right. Mark Burgess, you're the senpai. We want to notice us.
Mac is still scrolling,
My phone is not going.
scrolling.
My phone is finally here.
Do you got it, or should I go with mine?
Should we write it down for you?
I got it.
On your
I
paper?
can do the technology.
Shut up. This in person without having the second monitor like right here is definitely some learning pain.
Yes,
I find it.
yes.
I would have
it is.
expected Fleric. Like Fleric, even at the beginning, you would always have your laptop here.
Yeah, that's because I was doing the recording stuff, remember?
Oh, that's
but
right,
then,
yeah.
like, all of a sudden, it's like, I'm not needed for that anymore. All this has kind of been on to Jake's side.
Now that like hundreds of COVID dollars have gone into our gear, we can
Yes.
record much simpler without moving anything big
and
over
it's
here.
still the
Which-
same.
which,
but
thank
it's
you.
Still
Thank
the
you
same
for
mixer
that.
we're using.
But please just be our friend, Radish Cat. You don't know how much we need you in our lives.
Did you know that we created this podcast just to say that Rhiannon McClain is the best person we've ever heard of?
Very true.
Josh Robnolte. Sorry about that one. I don't know if I got that right.
Rob Nolte.
What?
I don't know.
You don't know any better than I do.
Yeah, we're just putting all possible pronunciations out there so that we're possibly
Josh
right.
R.
But Josh R., we would go along with any of your punishments.
Oh.
Wink.
All right. And we have Caroline. Just so we're clear, we like you.
We don't just like you. Like. All right. So I promised on our Bonsuke review episode that I'm sure Mac and Fleric listened to the entirety of, that we would start answering more of our questions and voicemails that we've gotten from our patrons that have signed up for the $3 level and have bloodbound us to talk about certain things. And so we're going to kick that off with trying to do better with that by answering a question that King of Salt sent us on Twitter like 2 or 3 months ago. But he asked us how many Rikishi began their career, wrestled, and retired during Hakuho's Yokozuna reign alone. And in addition to that, how many of those Rikishi are now sumo elders? So Hakuho became a Yokozuna in Nagoya of 2007. And since
I'm not sure I was even born yet.
And since Nagoya of 2007, 512 Rikishi began their career, wrestled, and retired during Hakuho's Yokozuna reign alone. 512. 499 of them never became a Sekitori. 12 of those Rikishi became a Sekitori but never made it to the Sanyaku ranks. And there has been one Rikishi that made it up to the Sanyaku ranks that began his career after Hakuho's Yokozuna reign began. And
And who is that?
that is Koto Yuki.
Oh.
There you go. Okay.
Something I found that was very interesting, the shortest career for a Rikishi that made it to the Sekitori ranks was just 13 basho. Chiyo Zakura debuted in Haru 2010 and retired in Nagoya of 2012. He had made it all the way up to Juryo in just 9 basho, but then it looked like he got injured and he was absent for a few basho and then retired.
That Zakura suffix is
I was
cursed.
just about to say that. I'm like, the Zakura suffix.
Since we've been watching, I don't think we've seen a single Zakura in Juryo or Makuuchi.
No, I don't think so.
So he also asked how many sumo elders started their career after Hakuho became Yokozuna. There are 2 sumo elders.
I would have. Yeah, I would have been shocked at 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Tatayama Oyakata, formerly Homore Fuji, he debuted in Haru of 2008 and he retired in Aki of 2019. I believe his highest rank was Maegashira 6. And then you have Kimigahama Oyakata. That is the former Kotoyuki, as we mentioned. He debuted in Natsu of 2008 and retired just this last May in Natsu 2021. And he is also the first sumo elder born after the Showa era.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so we're going to just start covering more of our patron topics just real quick in kind of these main episodes, just so we can start knocking some of those out of the way. We got a little bit of a backlog there.
There's a couple bigger ones that are going to take some more time that will probably like a bonus episode sometime or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we also, as I think we mentioned at the top of the podcast, this is the beginning of year 5 of GSB coverage. And so we asked on Twitter what are some of our listeners' favorite moments from the past 4 years of sumo, since Grand Sumo Breakdown has been covering it. It's been a very eventful 4 years. So we've got quite a few good ones. Hakioi, Sumo News and Stats, said Hakuho asking for and being denied a mata call versus Yoshikaze.
Oh, that was good.
So awkward.
Following Hakioi, Sumo News and Stats, they don't like Hakuho very much.
Okay.
So seeing him embarrassed, probably one of the only few bad things to have happen to Hakuho in the past 4 years.
Other than his knee.
Mark B, one of his favorite moments and one of our absolute favorite moments, Tochinoshin Hanka in Kakuryu in Natsu of 2019 to secure the Yusho for Asanoyama and Tochinoshin's Ozeki rank.
Mark is my new friend.
Yep.
My new best friend.
We also have Iyup Usta, Mark Darby, and Jason Harris, along with a few others that said Tokushoryu's Yusho and his emotions back in Hatsu of 2020
All the
were their
feels.
favorite moment.
My people.
Would you say that's yours
My
as well,
people.
Mac?
All the feels, definitely.
We have Kamisori Hanzo, who said his favorite moment of the past 4 years has been sumo commercials, sumo songs, and sumo erotica.
Ooh.
That makes one of you.
Silverback once again chimed in with sumo erotica, and also we have at least one person who really enjoyed the totally original sumo game show.
Oh.
They're sucking up for a t-shirt, I bet.
No kidding.
El Buen Rikshi said Kise no Sato's tears upon winning his first Yusho. I think that's just before the GSB cut off, but we'll allow
We'll
it.
count it.
Yep. Kevin M. Tardif said Teruno Fuji's entire comeback culminating in his promotion to Yokozuna. Benjamin Mills, another kind of understated moment, but I know we all enjoyed it. Teritsuyoshi dropping new Ozeki Asanoyama to the dirt with the Ashitori on day 14 of the July 2020 Bansuke to clear the path for Terutsuyoshi's stablemate Teruno Fuji to take the Yusho for Maegashira 17. And honestly, if we look at Asanoyama's record since then, I don't think he's ever really
Not
gotten
too hot.
as close to a Yusho since that point.
Yeah, it was the successful leg pick that spawned 10,000 failed leg picks.
Yeah. And the last one that I'm going to mention here, Sean Nelson said Shodai beating Tobizaru to clinch the Yusho and Ozeki promotion in Aki of 2020, staying pretty stoic. Then as he's walking down the Hanamichi, sees Itsuke Bito, and the mask falls off and the emotion pours out. So this is just a few of the amazing sumo moments that we've seen since Grand Sumo Breakdown has been covering sumo. I did just want to go around here real quick and see what all of our favorite moments, Grand Sumo Breakdown or actual sumo, has been since we started covering it. So, Mac, you're going to stick with Tokushoryu Yusho?
I would say between that and, as much as I am a Hakuho fan, seeing Endo absolutely destroy him and drop him out of the ring like a sack of
Throw
potatoes
him on his back.
was just beautiful. Endo's never come close again, but
No. Well, he
that-
did retire Cockneo.
but for that one shining moment,
Yeah.
he was stronger than Hakuho.
Yeah.
What about you, Jake?
I would say my favorite part has been sharing the journey with my friends.
Shut
Oh, that's a lie.
No, going to Japan and seeing what it's like to see live sumo in person was life-changing. That was just friggin' awesome. That was summer, Nagoya 2019. I think we were there for day 7 or 8. I think it was 8 because it was Sunday. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The day that Takayasu lost his Ozeki rank because of Tamawashi.
The day that Goedo went Kyujo so he wouldn't have to face Ryan in the ring.
Yep.
And I believe both active Americans at the time.
Waki Ichiro wasn't
He
scheduled.
wasn't
Waki
scheduled
Ichiro
for that
wasn't
day, and
scheduled.
Masashi Kuni also went Kyujo that day.
Yep. And
So-
he never wrestled again.
Nope.
So like, yeah, three of like the top attraction wrestlers that we went to see were not there that day.
Yep. What about you, Flair? What's been your favorite moment for these past 4 years?
Yeah, I'm having a just tough time seeing exactly one punishment doing. But there have been a couple times I just been
thump, squish.
Thump,
Yeah.
thump,
Thump, thump,
squish.
just doing.
That one was notable. Yes.
Hey, managed to turn made John Gunning turn the podcast off. So
Exactly what we always aim for.
Yeah, just doing just dumb things I would never do if not being, or making you guys do dumb things if not being because we're just in this thing called a podcast.
one of my favorite punishment
Amen.
moments
Fantastic, yeah.
was definitely feeding Fleric far too much wasabi paste. That got him real good.
That was bad.
Or the time you made me sing TikTok by Kesha with sumo lyrics.
Yep. That's still my ringtone. Oh, fun story. Not so fun for me, but funny story. So as soon as Jake sang that song, I'm like, oh, that's my ringtone from now on. But and so it's been my ringtone ever since we've recorded that podcast. But I always have my phone on vibrate, and so I have no idea what my ringtone is at any given time. But I recently had my phone volume turned on because I needed to know right away if my wife Gabby was gonna call me for something. But then I was also going into a work meeting. And so in the middle of a work meeting where we're discussing this new project that was kicking off that I'm working on, all of a sudden,
Why would I have even called you during like a
no, it wasn't
No, it
you.
was any
It's
call.
my ringtone
Any
for
call.
everybody that calls me.
oh my god!
ringtone.
I thought you meant just like when I call you.
No, just when anybody calls me. So my phone was on, and then how does the song go, Jake? Don't stop on a roll, Tsukebito, fill my bowl. So that goes off, and then
I'm gonna eat till I can't see my
And
feet.
Ryan looks at the person next to him at the meeting. Is that yours?
well, no, I just mean like, oh, sorry, and turn it off. And so I do what I think is silence my phone, but I'm just silencing that individual call. I forgot to turn my phone on silent. And then my lovely wife calls me again seconds later as I've forgotten to silence my phone, and it goes
Wow.
off with that same song again. And then I remembered to silence my phone.
There we go.
But my wife was calling me because she was needing to pick up our daughter from daycare. I had dropped her off in the morning.
I thought you were going to say like that's when she was going into labor. Or
No,
something.
no, this happened like
It's a girl.
2 weeks ago.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. And I had dropped Riley off at daycare, but I still had the car seat in my car. And so she had shown up to daycare. It's like, there's no car seat here. And left a message like, so you're just going to have to pick her up.
Okay.
So to her, it was nothing.
Yeah.
And to you, it changed your life.
Luckily, I think
We're gonna have to cancel this project.
Yep. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta go.
I think it's like nobody would be able to figure out what is being said. Like, don't stop on a roll, Tsukebito, fill my bowl. Nobody's going to understand the context of that. And when it's happening so quick and unexpectedly, you're not going to have the brain power to process what's actually happening and being said.
Unless it happens a second time immediately.
I don't. Is that Kesha?
I wonder what that was. I wonder if we'll ever hear that again. Instantly starts.
What's a Tsukebito?
Yeah. So that happened recently. So that is also one of my retroactively least favorite punishment moments we've ever done. And for me, my favorite moment, I think I am a victim of recency bias, but Hakuho versus Terunofuji on day 15 for the U show. That has been the one thing since my daughter has been born where I'm like, F it, I'm sacrificing how I feel the next day to feel crappy for not sleeping. I'm staying up and watching this sumo match. That's the one thing that has made me be a bad father the next day because I don't feel good. There's many other reasons that made me a bad father. Of course. That was just another one on top of it.
There you go. I would also like to do a special shout out to the Shodai U show where he was like crying in the back thing that we mentioned before.
Yep.
And the Tokusho man tears just do it for me for an actual sumo thing. Those were just fantastic.
Yeah. And then something else that Fleric and Mac are just keenly and intimately aware of is Jake and I's strangely in-depth conversation about like garbage day pickup and how that all works.
On the Bansuke recap, we like went off on a tangent because we were like, we've done this like 20 times now, so like, you know, we kind of like drift. I kind of like drift when Ryan talks at length. And we ended up like, what do they do on holidays when like when you take out your garbage? Like,
what if they pick it up on Friday usually and then they push it back a day? Do they pick
then
it
what
up?
happens?
Yeah.
Like, do they just push it to the next day? Then how do you recover? Are we just
I pulled a John Gunning at this point and was like, nope.
We had a long conversation on that, and we really appreciate we got a couple voicemails from people helping us figure out what the hell garbage day is all about.
So I think it was Casey Mustang. Jake will have to correct me. That said they'll pick it up on Saturday. If the holiday pushes your Friday out to Saturday. There was somebody else that pointed out, because we were talking about, okay, so you have recycling every other week. Is it like the same crew picks it up on 1 week and then they hit like half the town, then the next week they get the other half of town, and it's just the same crew doing all of it? Why did they break it up? And I think he confirmed.
Well, would you look at the time?
It was not a very riveting tangent, but we appreciate people helping us out because
we appreciate 3 people calling in about stupid stuff we were talking about.
Because
on the
regardless
episode.
of how much it affects our
Was it
podcast,
actual
it was
voicemails?
informative
Yes.
as
I love
a
it.
person to understand what's going on there.
So we
All
had
right.
2 people clear up garbage day stuff for Jake and I.
And then also thank you, Josh from Nebraska, for applying for Ryan's job. We are taking your application into consideration very seriously.
And I believe he's also the one that pointed out that horses are indeed evil, and I believe he did mention the fact that they
That's
eat
true.
children's souls.
Horses are death machines. Yes,
Yeah.
this has been established for sure.
All right. So thank you for everybody sending in your voicemails. We would play them at this time. Maybe I'm going to force Jake to just throw them on to the end of the episode.
Yeah, we're just running a little longer than we normally would.
Yeah. So if you want to hear those voicemails about garbage day, just listen to the end after the credits. They'll be there. But we want to wrap this up. As Fleric mentioned, look at the time.
Just look at that.
So we talked about our favorite moments from the past 4 years. What are we expecting to be our favorite moment? What are we most excited for the upcoming tournament, Mac?
John Gunning to relinquish his position and say, GSB guys, come to Japan. It is time for you to be ringside announcers.
Yeah, you have to face them in a bout of ramen eating and drinking sake.
I think
train.
4 versus 1, we'd win that.
I think we got that.
We got that locked
I think we
down.
can win.
Yeah. I think the easy answer is to say, how does Terunofuji do in his first Yokozuna tournament? We've talked about that plenty. I just, for the sake of novelty here, I'll also say Maegashira 1 through 3, like Ryan mentioned, all new guys, new generation stuff. It's what we've been hyping up, since we started our podcast. We want to see this next generation. It's always fun to see who's going to be the next big guys.
The tadpoles are now frogs. And
Yeah.
now
Yes.
we're waiting for the new tadpoles.
Yeah. For me, I think realistically, the young guys. I think particularly Hoshoryu. I really want to see how he does, especially facing Terunofuji for the first time. And no, it might not be for the first time in his career. I think he fought Terunofuji once as an Ozeki, but getting his first battle against a Yokozuna. And for the memes, if Shodai does really well this tournament, I will be so excited.
Yeah.
I will be so excited.
That would be so funny.
All right. What about you, Fleric?
Yeah, I have the trifecta of storylines I'm keeping an eye on. Obviously, first Terunofuji, how he does as Yokozuna. Does he continue his dominance, or is it going to see some signs of slipping? Takakesho, how is his injury? How is he going to be looking? Is he going to be as dominant as he was before, or is it going to be, unfortunately not as good? And then Hoshoryu, the young one. I think he's the most promising and most exciting because of his lineage, I guess, maybe heritage.
Yes, his pedigree.
Yeah. His uncle was a former Yokozuna, Asashoryu. So keep an eye on how all 3 of those going is going to be what I'm most excited for.
All right. Well, since we did our social media BS earlier in the episode, we had some extra time at the end, so I thought I would do something a little special and give a shout out to a couple people that we don't mention often enough on our podcast. So just some of like the GSB staff that I think could use a shout out. You know, we don't mention them often enough, like I said. Yeah. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to our illegal technique analyst, Anita DeGroin. She's been instrumental in helping us learn about the rules of sumo.
Indeed, she has.
She was very clutch when Terunofuji had the hair pull a couple of bashos ago.
Also, our highlight videos are compiled by CM Fly. Great guy at spotting the best matches. He's been a lot of fun for us. As well as to summarize the matches on this, we have our match summarizer Trip Thud.
You know, he's come
a good
in.
job of breaking down the action, and of course our safety advisor Lord Adoyo. So we'll call it there. But I just wanted to say
hot
thank
second.
you.
I thought you were being sincere. Like I said, this is the time we're gonna thank B for all those voicemails he sends and send him on trips to Japan. But
nope, Lord Adoyo.
Lord Adoyo. Lord Adoyo.
Hashtag Lord Adoyo.
All right.
All right, that'll do it. We'll see you guys at the midway.
Yep.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.